I mean, you have to change your boots. Huh? You have to change your boots.
Call is now being recorded.
So
Okay.
you're the youngest among all of us.
I am engaged only when I am in tennis court. Huh? Maybe when I am teaching you all. Right, right. Okay. See, I have sent 2, 3 judgments.
Yes, sir.
Judgment, the latest judgment, I'll just, the latest judgment I will tell you. The latest judgment is of Justice S.J. Kaul and Justice Joseph's latest judgment. That judgment we can see, last judgment. That is the party's name is Jasbir Singh versus State NCT of Delhi, judgment dated 4th September 2019. I have sent it on the group to everybody and you can open for the benefit of the others. Yeah, judgment, you got it? Jasbir Singh versus State of Delhi.
So, you sent it on the group, no, sir?
I sent on the group, open kijeda, 4th September 2019. This is the latest and recent judgment of the Supreme Court on the point that the leading judgment of the Supreme Court on a dying declaration. A beautiful judgment of Justice K.M. Joseph. Now, this is a case, see that, yeah, we'll just read the 2 paragraphs, we'll come to know. The appellant stands convicted under section 302 and 506 of the Indian Penal Code. You got it?
All
of you getting it open? Judgment
Yes,
open?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the appellant stands convicted under section 302, 506 of the Indian Penal Code.
Account माझं आहे.
Prayer number 2, signature. Yeah, then the facts, reasons. Apparently, the deceased was married to the appellant in the year 1999. He was unemployed at the time. Later, he secured employment in the CRPF. He did not take his wife on the basis that he could not take her far away. Wife continued to reside with the mother of the deceased at her house. Appellant used to harass his wife and had illicit relationship with the wife of his brother. Panchayat was held, settlement was arrived, at pursuant to which later 4 years, when the appellant was transferred to Delhi, he assured the mother of the deceased that he will not harass the wife, and he started residing in the house along with the wife and mother-in-law. It is the father's case of the prosecution that the appellant continued to continue to have an affair with the wife of his brother. On 23rd 1/2008, the mother of the deceased went to the matrimonial home of another daughter on 24th so at about 6 p.m. The appellant came to the house under the influence of liquor and in short poured kerosene upon his wife and also some kerosene oil over himself and threw a lighted matchstick on the wife. Initially, both appellant and deceased were taken to the hospital. Initially, the wife gave statement which did not implicate the appellant. However, on 27/1/2008, dying declaration was made by the deceased, pointing fingers of the blame clearly at the appellant and attributing the act of pouring kerosene and setting her ablaze to her initially. The first information report was lodged on 27 Jan 2008 on the basis of a dying declaration dated so-and-so under section 307, attempt to murder, which was upon the deceased succumbing to death, burn injuries, converting to section 302 of the IPC. This is beside the charge under 506 for accident. The witnesses were examined by the prosecution, para number 3. 31 witnesses were examined. Then question under 313, finding by the trial court, it is the case where there were 2 dying declarations were made on 21/1/2008, another on 27/1/2008, in regard to the statement on usually the history of the case also. So this is entirely the case based upon the dying declaration of the wife and the sole testimony of the wife, which was regarded as a dying declaration, and the man was convicted. Now this is the judgment. You can say that they have also relied upon the other former judgment of the Supreme Court in Pune murder case and other cases also. You may see that here. So this is the leading judgment. You may go through this. And you may also quote in paragraph number 21, they are relying upon judgment of Leela Srinivas Rao versus State of AP, where the dying declaration was recorded by magistrate, was accepted, and the accused was convicted. Then paragraph number 22, Sayara Bano alias Sultana Begum versus State of Maharashtra, where the offense was under 302. There was a quarrel between the appellant and accused and the deceased, during which the case of the prosecution, appellant poured kerosene. These are all cases where the wife was subjected to cruelty and kerosene was poured either by husband or the in-laws, and on the basis of the confession, the dying declaration of the wife, and the accused stands convicted. Then paragraph number 23, Amol Singh versus State of MP. The High Court reject the plea on the basis that there being more than one declaration. That was not accepted. Then paragraph, then down here, Udul Bala Subramaniam's case versus State of AP 93. The inconsistencies are noticed between the dying declaration and the court examination in the declaration. The court finally, in that case, viewed that discrepancies made in the declaration doubtful, and it was unsafe to convict the person here. Then paragraph number 25, Hiralal's case. Hiralal versus State of MP. That was a dying declaration recorded by the Tehsildar. See, not by the police. Tehsildar. Deceased stated clearly she tried to set herself ablaze by pouring kerosene on herself. The second declaration, however, contained contrary in statement. Since there was a controversy in the matter here, the matter was brought here. The court did not, High Court came to the conclusion that purportedly the relatives of the accused may have compelled the accused to give the false statement. They did not accept it. In paragraph number 26, Lakhan versus State of MP, here was a case dealing with the case of death as a result of burn injury suffered by the wife on the first day of declaration of the magistrates, before the magistrate. Here the declaration was examined by the court. It was worth reliance and all that. Then 27 May, in the course of a discussion, the court found that second declaration was reliable and he was convicted on that basis. Paragraph number 28, there is a judgment of Sher Singh versus State of Punjab. In this here, this is a case of burn injuries suffered by the deceased wife of the appellant. Upon being taken to hospital, the police officer recording a statement, it was found that the fire was accidental and happened when she was preparing tea. This is a case where section 15 was invoked, where it was accidental death. Then paragraph number 17 में 29 के नीचे there is a judgment of in that ASA Hakim's statement is recorded by the court whether to safe to play or not in this case, conspiracy case. Then I am coming to paragraph, then dying declaration, paragraph number 34 mein, what the Supreme Court has discussed about this particular case. Then various cases they have discussed. Then paragraph number 37 के अंदर Lashman versus State of Maharashtra's case is discussed, where the declaration was accepted. Then turning to then there are other judgments which I am pointing out. Just see that here, paragraph number relevant 46 may the other ruling. What does the Supreme Court say finally in this? I'll come to you. The various circumstances taken into consideration, the finding is recorded. Yeah. So ultimately, the Supreme Court says what in paragraph number 63 aa jaiye. As to why the appellant would bring out the pipe of the petrol tank is one question which may require consideration. The trial court holds that it was the order to show that to be an accident, that he brought out the petrol pipe and took the defense that because of the leakage in the pipe, the fire engulfed and both of them caught fire, which defense was found absolutely improbable. The High Court in the impugn order, on the other hand, would state that the appellant suffered 40% injuries on the face, neck and upper limb. We found completely with the dying declaration. dated 27/1/2008. Whereas the deceased has explained that he tried to flee. The appellant caught her trying to prevent her from running out. It is shows that the burning injuries occurred on his face and upper trunk and the upper lip. It is true that the question may arise if this version is accepted and the appellant caught fire from the catching the deceased and so and so pulled out. Then the relevant four lines I'm reading, last 4 lines. As already noticed, he has also stated in the inner room, a can of kerosene was lying and the kerosene was lying separate, spread all over side. We have no reason to disbelieve PW9 when he speaks about the kerosene oil lying in the inner room and the version projected by the declaration dated 27/1/2008 is clinchingly proved by the circumstances that kerosene was indeed the fuel used which caused the burn injuries in the possession and the inner room, and the entire compatibility with the dying declaration dated 27/1. In the above facts and circumstances, we see no ground to interfere. The appeal was stand dismissed. The appellant has been released on bail. This bond shall stand cancelled and he shall be taken into custody. So this is the latest judgment which summarizes all the various judgments on the dying declaration.
Sir, quick question, sir.
Yes.
So was he insane, sir? He was doing all this. Is it insanity? What happened, sir?
He was trying to take up various differences. He was trying to prove it was an accidental. He himself has got himself burned. Very clever man. He's a clever person.
So put kerosene on somebody and then light them up and then hold them from behind. It is insanity, no, sir?
Because he was having an affair with his own sister-in-law, shameless fellow. He just wanted to, he was not happy with his wife for some reason. He wanted to get rid of her and he wanted to continue his illicit relationship with his sister-in-law. Very unfortunate case, very unfortunate. And
so why not take divorce, sir? Why try to burn the person?
Such people should be sent to gallows, according to me. That is the judgment of Jasbir Singh case. I don't think you need any other case, because in the examination they won't ask you this time online. But for the sake of your knowledge, since the examiner was enthusiastic in this case and it was not an online case, and he said to judgment, I'm giving you judgment. The time doesn't, don't worry. You just open the net and say the latest Supreme Court judgment on the dying declaration, latest Supreme Court judgment on so and so point. You will get everything. Don't get petrified. Any problem, phone me up. I will help you out. Okay?
Yes, sir. What happened in CRPC papers last time was they gave 3 or 4 cases in the exam which we had never seen or heard of before. So totally new case, and then 4 options, select the right option. So what should you do in those kind of cases if you are given a part of a case and you have never read the case before, and then A, B, C, D are there and they're saying choose the right option?
Yes, it is very unfortunate, because in the university you must lay down the questions will be asked on the following judgments. They should give the judgment, maybe 8 judgment, 10 judgment to the student. In beforehand you can prepare. Like in the constitution paper, we are given the list of Keshwananda Bharati's case, we are given Kapoor's case, we are given A.K. Gopalan's case, Menka Gandhi's case. Various rulings are given here. And even CRPC, Evidence Act, any legislation which you want to give, because the judgments are so many, it's like a ocean-like department. Anybody can get confused. Why students, even judges and lawyers can get confused. Anybody can get confused. You must specify the judgment which you intend to ask the question. That is according to me. Otherwise, it should be given a choice to the student. You write one of the leading judgment. Here is given your leading is a good question. So you can give it a judgment of your choice. So you have a right to, it's a choice is given to you. So they are not giving you a particular judgment and elaborate. And they say that here the examiner says, give a landmark judgment highlighting the law relating to dying declaration. So in this judgment, the dying declaration was the sole piece of a document for convicting a man. It is not necessary the dying declaration must be recorded before a magistrate. Under 164. When a person is dying and the fire is catching, you will take him first to hospital. the statement were made before nurses and doctors. So when the police comes later on, magistrate is not available to you immediately on the press the button. So sometimes if it is reliable statement, when the court has seen the corroborative part of the evidence, the court has seen the FIR, the court has examined the various witnesses, the court has taken into consideration the evidence, the circumstantial evidence, direct evidence, corroborative evidence, probative value of the evidence. Various sections are there. Res geste evidence under section 6, cause and effect under section 7, motive preparation conduct under 8, and 9 के अंदर explanatory conduct here, 10 के अंदर whether there was a conspiracy existed, 11 के अंदर relevant or not relevant, 12 के अंदर whether the circumstances leading 13, 15 में accidental, non-accidental question. So Evidence Act is very wide. So in any of these provisions, when there is a cogent evidence is laid down, if a judicial mind, the court of session trying a matter like this is convinced that here the dying declaration, though no recorded before in the presence of a magistrate under section 164, there is no reason why not to believe the dying declaration recorded in the presence before the doctor, before the nurses. They are strangers. They don't have anything against the accused person. They don't even know him. They don't have any bias against him. They have no ulterior motive against him. They are truthfully recording the statement of a person who is brought to the hospital while treating. And when they meticulously recorded in a book maintained in the hospital, there is nothing wrong. By no stretch of imagination, it can be called it's a bogus statement. The court will definitely say that this is a credible, reliable evidence, unbelievable evidence, and the best evidence. Of course, the court will see the circumstantial evidence. Why this man did it? He had an affair with his sister-in-law. So that is a corroborative part of the evidence, a lending part, which gives him a circumstantial. See, here not only a direct evidence is come before the court in the nature of a dying declaration, and also a circumstantial evidence. The circumstances which compelled this man to take this decision was he can continue to have illicit affair with his sister-in-law, which was brought on record. That is the motive, preparation and conduct in the matter. Sandhana, that's the clinch. And according to me, both the High Court, Session Court and the High Court and the Supreme Court did the right thing in confirming the judgment right throughout and convicting the man on the sole basis of the dying declaration of the women, which was made before the people other than the magistrate. Okay, कुछ पूछना है तो पूछ लीजिए. Today should be the last lecture for Evidence Act, and maybe after 2-3 days I will be able to, at your request, can take up your arbitration. 1 or 2 lectures लेता हूँ मैं. Maybe not tomorrow. Just give me 2 days. I got tomorrow a big conference.
Yes, sir. Yes. So, dying declaration can be changed, sir?
How can it be changed?
Like you make one, like in this case only it said that you can make one statement and then later on,
statement
because earlier
was recorded one day, again second day, suppose one was recorded before the nurse, then second day was recorded before the doctor, then third it can also be police come, it can be corroborated. You cannot change it, but you can take into consideration the various statements recorded, because on the very first day when she was brought, the only nurse was there in the hospital.
Yes, she refused to blame him on day 1, sir, and then day 2 she
because naturally the hospital people, after recording a statement, finding out what happened, they will inform the police. It's an accidental case. So again, police again will come. Probably the police will come alone. Police will come with the magistrate. So she will reproduce a person. She cannot go to magistrate. Magistrate either has to come to her. Even the court said that sometimes magistrates are not in the middle of the night. Where will you get the magistrate? Police officer may be available. Police station is working round the clock. At the 12 o'clock night, it is a accident taken place. The woman is brought to the hospital, and the nurse was only present. Even doctor is not available. She primarily records a statement. Then she reports to the police. Next day morning, doctor comes. Before doctor ke paas it is repeated. And then again, police officer comes in the middle of the night, they record it, permissible. That is why there are 2-3 statements here which have been rightly corroborated. According to me, there is no fault here. There can be two declarations. There is no fault. So long as there is no inconsistency, your statements are not at variance. You are not taking a contradictory stand. But there was nothing contradictory. She has been truthfully deposing, and all witnesses have been confirming. So there is a corroborative piece of evidence which will connecting the death of the husband. Pouring kerosene is a fact, but he brought false evidence to show that it was an accidental death. Oh, pipe keep le gaya, wo le gaya. That must be, his lawyers must advise him. That is how it is done. Every defense accused person like to take defense under the law to prove that it is not a deliberate accidental act. That evidence is you're permitted to lead under section 15 of the Evidence Act, isn't it?
Yes, sir, but she didn't blame him the first time, sir. So that is allowed, sir, that you don't blame. She did not blame him on the first day, sir.
It may be on account of various reasons. A wife normally would not like to implicate the husband. She wants to maintain good relation. And so see that the husband comes back to her. More or less in our Indian tradition, the women are like that. They have been trained to be very upright and honest and loyal to the husband. But the husband is disloyal here. She was trying to gain his confidence, gain his loyalty, but he was being disloyal to her. So, but there is no inconsistency in that statement. Yeah, boliye beta.
So in your opinion, a dying declaration cannot be tampered with?
It can be tampered. There are many ways. Everything can be tampered. Everything can be fabricated.
So then if there are no witnesses, how do you prove that the dying declaration is tampered with?
Dying declaration can be tampered when you make statement before the court of law that it is, she has never given such statement. It is not her statement. But the court will see whether before whom it is made. If it is made before near relatives, they will say relatives have prompted her, the husband's side. So that is how the court will take with a pinch of salt. Her wife's side. It is made before her own brother. It is made before her own sister. So there is a possibility of manipulation. There is a possibility because they are interested in convicting the husband, her husband. Actually, they are making it up. But this is not a case where she has made the confession before her own people. It is before the hospital people, before the Gram Panchayat people. This is how it is done. Sometimes your own relatives, the court will examine them in the court of law, whether the witness is truthful or not truthful. The court will decide under section 165. The court has got ample discretion. Court will come to know the conduct of the witness, the demeanor of the witness. The trial court is witnessing everything. You will come to know the motive, preparation, conduct. Section 14 evidence, ill will, good will, bad will. Dekhe na apne kal pade. Isn't it? You come to know the actions of the witness. 90% of the cases you come to know, a good trial judge will come to know who the culprit is and whether to blame him or not. Because with experience it comes, Because the judge who knows the evidence act, the judges know very well because they are conducting trials every day. It will know them by heart. They will know what is section 14. Your body language will come to know. You also come to know from the body language who is your good friend, your bad friend. Isn't it? You want to come to know. Everybody comes to know. From your own treatment, ill treatment, whether how is people behaving you in society, you come to know. It is but natural. Human actions are, they are more or less transparent. He may be not directly, they can be indirectly. So you come to know about it. It's a matter of adjudication. It's a matter of determination by the court. At the 34 witnesses were examined. It's not a joke. You come to know from out of 34, even if 15 witnesses are deposed correctly, the judge will convict him. Out of 34, almost everybody, 30 people are telling lies. वो अलग बात है. यहाँ पे everybody is corroborating. The corroboration is very hard. Police report, Kanchanama report, and the report of the neighbors, everybody, and family people, the family people himself saying he is having an affair. These are admission come out in the cross-examination or good investigation. This is the result of a good investigation. If good investigation is conducted, and everybody will succeed. If investigation is bad, you are out. What is the use of having piece of evidence in the police station when you cannot produce before the court of law? It is no evidence. These statements which you recorded under 162, you must produce before the court. The discovery which you took place under section 27 from the accused, you must produce before the court of law. And yesterday you read one case, one politician was acquitted in hate speeches in the other court. When they tried to play tape record, the tape record was not playing. You read it or not?
No, I didn't.
The tape record was not playing in a hate speech under section 153 of the Indian Penal Code, and it came in newspaper. You read it. That is a defective way of conducting investigation. The police has not taken properly how to safeguard the tape recorder. That is Abu Azmi's case. You read it in yesterday's newspaper. He was prosecuted for hate speech, for giving a hate speech in Dadar or Azad Mat. What is it? At which Maidan? At Shivaji Park? Shivaji Park Maidan ke andar. And unfortunately, lucky for him that the police were not able to succeed in proving the hate speech. When they tried to play the entire tape record was blank. Tell me, this is how 90% of the investigation is defective in our country. Police are doing a good job. I am not doubting their credential, but I am doubting their efficiency. They are not quite properly trained, like many lawyers are not trained, like many medical doctors are not trained. How to, many things we have to learn from Western countries, from UK example, USA, how efficiency, proficiency, how they conduct investigation. And how you do that? It's not an explanation to say that we did not know how to maintain the tape record version. They should have taken CDs and all available. In a city like Bombay, if a police officer takes up the plea, people will laugh. What will happen in villages then? It is not an excuse. It is a defective way of it.
Sir, but after the Vazay case, I mean, it's really difficult to believe the police versions also.
Yes, because that is still investigation is going on. We are unable to comment on this case because I commented to you in yesterday's case of Abu Azmi because the case is discharged because of a want of evidence. But whereas Vazay is concerned, unfortunately or fortunately, we do not know what the circumstances. Still, evidence is being collected. But here, the one government says they are haunting us. It is an abuse of powers, and they say that they have evidence. So till investigation is done and the court decided, we cannot say anything. And because power of the police to investigate is very wide in CRPC. Even the court of law cannot stop the police officer from collecting evidence and investigating. So it will not be proper to comment upon the police investigation at this stage. Of course, people have two types of views, for and against, biased and unbiased. So I believe in not commenting upon the cases which are pending. I will only discuss matters which are disposed of. Which are disposed of with the seal of approval of the court. Final order is given. So
yesterday,
when the police is investigating, police officer should not give any newspaper advertisement. He should not come out and make any statement. Investigation must be secretive and clandestine. It should not be tampered with, should not be told to anybody. You must catch the culprit by the hook. Newspaper में report आ रहा है, daily में you are reading, हमको ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं. This is all publicity. This is all publicity litigation. It is not a genuine litigation. Anything, any police officer or a political figure, any person making a statement about the investigation, pending investigation, according to me, it's a gross abuse of the process of the power and the rule of law. It should be halted. Yes, that is my opinion, and they correctly so, because even the Supreme Court, in Ajmal Kasab's case, did not like the idea of TV channels playing what is happening in VT, what is happening in Bombay, how the culprits were shooting. You cannot leak the information. Police is collecting. Collect and keep it, safeguard it. That is what the judgment of Afterwalam in the Supreme Court, that you see the guidelines they laid down. They are not promoting national interest, they are sabotaging the investigation. Yes. Bataiye.
Sir, yesterday there was this landmark judgment that WhatsApp administrators will not be blamed for content being put on WhatsApp because they cannot control what the people put in the WhatsApp. So that is, I think, sir, a very good way forward. Otherwise, innocent admins were being put behind bars for other people putting in comments.
Yes, that's certainly not. You cannot prosecute people, administrator, for forwarding. That is not fair. The main culprit who has done it mischievous at the first hand, you catch hold of. Many people do transfer it innocently or accidentally. That is why the provisions of Evidence Act is there. Nobody does it deliberately. So, so that's the right judgment, according to me. Rightly so, it came at the right time. And a very unfortunate, we lost a Supreme Court judge yesterday for COVID, Shantanus, Mohan Shantanus. He was at 63 and a half years old. Very unfortunate.
We are already short-staffed, sir. One more judge.
I know, very nice. Yeah, very unfortunate. Okay, anybody want to ask me any question? Quickly ask. We can wind up today's session. And after 2-3 days, or I think your exam, let me know when you want any lecture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What are you saying? Yes, sir.
ADR lecture, sir.
ADR lecture.
You ADR professor तो नहीं है आपके पास है?
No, we want to listen it from you also, sir.
Okay, I will take 2 lectures only, 2-3 maximum. Because ज़्यादा
Yes.
नहीं. I will give one lecture giving the entire history of the ADR legislation and some salient features of some of the judgment of the Supreme Court, like Konkan Railways case, Mohan Railways case, and the recent judgment of Justice Nariman's judgment, where even in domestic arbitration cases, the parties can have the place of arbitration abroad, like there is no bar as such. The Section 28 substantial amendment took place in the year 1995-93. I will tell you about which matters are arbitrable, which matters are not arbitrable,
and so your experiences also, sir, with arbitration, yes, some of the leading cases that you have handled, sir.
Arbitration matters I'm doing almost every week. I'm doing, and there are lots of matters. Many matters we can't cope up. I written also is the commercial litigation. Some matters I take many of them. Of course, I've done a lot of matters. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So you have taken part in some landmark arbitration cases. So if you could share some of those also, sir.
I have appeared because since the arbitration matters, you have to leave your court litigation and not accepting full-fledged. Now the arbitrators are insisting come from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock, which is not my cup of tea. The 3-4 sitting which I sat with Justice Sri Krishna and Justice Varyava was the case of that lady Sushmita Sen's matter. I appeared against her. Morning to evening, it is not possible because I have continuously court matters. Easily, I am not taking arbitration matters where arbitrator insists you should go on every day. So then I either give it to some juniors of mine or give it to recommend somebody else. So I prefer to appear before the court of law where evidence is recorded, where cross-examination take place. That is how I enjoy that kind of advocacy. Before arbitrators, you are tied up whole day. It is not possible. But some certain matters, I am doing it up. With great reluctance, but I am not happy with the arbitration matters as such because it consumes whole day. And
so isn't it supposed to take less time than the courts? Then why is it taking more time?
No. It is taking maximum time, number one. And whereas at least the court is before the court of law in the high court or civil court or a magistrate court or session court, you record your evidence in 1 hour, 2 hours, your matter is wound up and the other matters are given. But the arbitrators insist you whole day you go and you get bored. Maximum capacity is minimum 2 hours, 3 hours, isn't it?
What they want you to do the whole day, sir?
And plus you will be sitting and chatting with them, dining with them. It's a good procedure, but I'm not cut out for total arbitration matters. Of course, I've done a lot of arbitration matters. I'm not compatible with arbitration matters. I am more happy performing live in the court. Live performance is better. Arbitrators indoors sitting in an AC room and chatting more or less. Half the time you are sipping a cup of tea, biscuit khate rahenge, baat karte rahenge. And ठीक है, some matters are settled amicably. People, companies, big companies, they do not want to come to court. They find court atmosphere is not too good for them, and they find the court having too many matters, 100 matters, 50 matters. Our matter may reach, may not reach. So still people opt for arbitration. But many people are opting out of arbitration. I will tell you, arbitrators' fees are very high. And plus, matters are not being expeditiously disposed of. Though there are amendments taken place, you should dispose it of within 90 days, 3 months' time, 6 months' time. It is not happening. Let us see what happens. But people are required to pay exorbitant fees of arbitrators, and the place of revenue, sometimes 5-star hotels and places, and every hourly basis they charge. Plus, arbitrators tell you that you pay for the stenographer alag se, junior ko alag se, solicitors will also, counsel ko alag, solicitor ko alag. Client will become bankrupt in arbitration. So I'll advise you, if anybody client comes to you for drafting papers and all, advise them not to go for arbitration unless they have too much money to waste. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Even people, I appeared for film people, some of the builders, they got fed up. They could not afford fees because they thought dispose of the matter within 2-3 years. No, it is happening 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Some of the construction matter, redevelop matters are with me, and people are not able to pay. Society people cannot pay. There's always squibbling for payment. Even in the pandemic time, I don't think any people can pay arbitrators' fees, very high fees.
So this is exactly contrary to the reason why Arbitration Act was made.
Arbitration Act is made on the basis of the UNCITRAL laws, United Nations Commission on International Trade Laws, where the Geneva Convention, all this, they wanted international people. There must be uniformity in all the commercial laws, both in ADR laws and IPR laws. Different countries have different rules, taking long. India can the time lagta hai, because there is an international investment, there is a multiplicity of contracts nowadays. So that is wanted to have uniformity in the provisions of the Arbitration Act. So formally in India, we used to have a domestic arbitration act 1940. मालूम है आपको? Then उसके बाद one international act of the year 1937 based on Geneva Convention, another 63 act based on New York Convention. So 3 different acts for operating in India. Then again, the law says that the decree passed in the earlier act cannot be enforced unless again you have to go under section 20 of the act to the High Court to obtain a decree district court ke andar that the arbitration proceedings have been properly conducted. That means you spend money before the arbitrators under the old act of 1940. Then you come to the district court or Bombay High Court and file a suit, petition that the arbitration proceedings were properly conducted, a declaration that they give a decree. The court gives a decree. Now that has been now dispensed with now with the passing of the 1996 Act, which says that the arbitral award is a decree within the meaning of section 36 of the Act. It can be executed like a civil court decree. I will explain to you. The arbitration proceedings start from commencement of the proceeding under section 21. How I will explain to you. Commencement, that is the cause of action, arises here. The limitation purpose के लिए. Section 21 is the starting point here. अगर 21 के अंदर notice देंगे आप, 1 month's notice देना पड़ेगा आपको. Appoint an arbitrator, dispute between me and you. And if you don't appoint any of the parties, then you resort to section 11, go to the Chief Justice of the High Court. In the High Court, or the designate judges, they appoint the judges under 11.6. And the international, the Chief Justice of India appoints him. Then the procedure for start, then section 16, take the jurisdiction aspect, will take it. Then the intervention of the court is limited. Then section 9, you can go for interim orders before the court, even before the arbitration award is set into action. Even before the commencement of the arbitral proceeding, if you anticipate that the other side is trying to sell the factory and causing loss, you can move the court under section 9 for interim orders of receiver injunction. That is, say that here, interim orders before or after. This is one. Under the CPC, you cannot go for injunction without filing a suit without filing a claim. But whereas in the arbitration, before starting the arbitration proceeding under Section 21, and you can directly go to this Bombay High Court or a district judge in district court, and my lord, there is an urgency, appoint a receiver. Then the court will say, no, by the time within 1 month's time, 2 months' time, you go for arbitration, we are appointing. That is Section 9 is very wide. It all the interim orders. Then under Section 17 of the Arbitration Act, then the arbitrator has power to pass interim measures. You will come to know that. It's very interesting. The powers of the arbitrators are equal. His power comes only when the arbitration proceedings are taking place. But whereas the intervention of the court is anytime. And orders passed under sections are appealable under the Act. We'll explain to you this. Of course, you must have been told by the leading judgments in arbitration. Please go through Konkan Railway versus Mehul Constructions case. This is a very leading judgment.
Okay, sir.
Net के ऊपर पढ़ के जाएंगे बताएंगे ठीक है. When we'll meet next time, I'll explain to you.
Yeah,
So,
we did.
Anybody has any more question on Evidence Act? Please let me know. We are winding up Evidence Act. भूल जाएंगे अभी. Only then I will only take 2 lectures on arbitration. उसके बाद then you need time to read and you have a right to